Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Star Wars Solo movie, Han Solo's Landspeeder set. It's basically a 1968 Dodge Charger in space. Seriously, Google that, you'll see what I mean. Within the Star Wars universe, this draws a lot of parallels to Luke's Landspeeder from A New Hope, although this one in real life is inspired by the stylistic design choices of American vehicles and architecture of about a decade later than Luke's speeder was. Interestingly, the design of this thing is asymmetric, so it's fully cowled off, or mostly cowled off, on one side. I could just imagine that this was the original design, maybe not including this section here. It probably would have been completely smooth when it was originally built, and then this side has been kind of broken off. It has lost some of its body panels. So you're seeing some of the framework and some of the plumbing inside from there. It's not a particularly difficult build to assemble, just following the instructions, but it does have a lot of studs on the side construction, which gives it interesting shapes. It felt basic to put it together, but the end result is a little bit advanced in terms of the design choices that were made. Even the sections on the base of the vehicle were built with studs on the side construction, so you'll see some items with the studs facing outwards or covered up studs that have been placed on their sides. So overall, I think that the build experience was enjoyable, though fairly simple, and the end result is pleasing to the eye. The one thing that I don't like about this is the use of the light gray bracket piece right there. I think if that was done in black or dark gray, it would have looked better and just would have allowed the whole wing section to be a little bit more smooth. Now this has a number of play features or things that can be changed on it or moved around. You can see the spring-loaded shooter under there. They have one on either side. Fire those off from the back when you do have those loaded in there. The tails stick way out, which is really easy for play, really easy to be, driving this thing from the back and then just fire it whenever you want, but does not look particularly good. So if you don't like the look of it, just leave it out or leave it just halfway in so the tail is kind of buried in there like it was when I started out the video. Also, this has wheels on it. Not sure if you noticed, but there are little things sticking out down under there. There's one right there, and the other one at the back, you can't even see. It's hidden away. The most low-profile installation of wheels I think I've ever seen on a LEGO set. Nicely hidden away. So it allows you to roll the thing around. They're small and they're hard, so you can still slide it around from side to side. And yeah, it just helps. It just allows you to move this around more easily than having it flat on the ground or with inverted slopes. You also have a removable hood here, which is fairly large. The fan style details, the vents on the tops, are printed pieces, and you get one of those relatively new curved 1x2 plates with the hollow studs. And then they've got some suggestion of what's supposed to be analogous to an engine here. It might be a repulsor field generator or something perhaps, but interestingly enough, that's actually designed to be removed. You can just pull that up as an entire assembly, take that out so you can pretend that you need to do some maintenance on this thing, and it comes with its own toolkit. I mean, it's just a wrench with a pry bar at one end, but it allows you to get into some role play of actually working on the thing. I don't know if this is supposed to be fuel over here or maybe coolant. It kind of looks like an antifreeze overflow tank to me, so I'm going with that. It also has storage for an extra spring-loaded shooter bolt on one side. At the back is an interesting small hidden feature. You can remove this. Now maybe that's supposed to be like a reactor core there. Something related to energy generation or recovery. It's actually a refuse container, a trash bin on its side there. Interesting little mounting there. Again, more studs on the side construction. It's just absolutely everywhere. But it's nice to be able to play with this thing, to have it pretend to be broken down and have to work on it, and you can get to different components of it. The cockpit area of this, to me, is pretty perfect. It's a really nice layout. It looks somewhat luxurious. You know, it's got that nice tan finish on the inside. They actually have tan colored regular minifigure seats. That's great to see. You've got a little bit of space behind those seats. It's like a 2+2 configuration, so you can put some weapons or other accessories back there. And they also have little spaces due to the extra horizontal spacing. You've got little slots in between the drivers and the center console, or the passenger and driver and center console, to put a blaster in there, which makes even more sense because then it's a lot easier for the figure to get to it. I mean, you're not actually going to grab it from there in real life, but you know, it just looks right. And I like the printed pieces there. Nothing new, but they look good and they are well placed, and you get the yoke style steering as well. So that's just all good if you ask me. This figure of young Han Solo is really interesting to me because I personally don't think the actor they got to play young Solo in the movie looks enough like a younger version of Harrison Ford. But this figure, I feel, strikes a perfect middle ground between looking like that actor, it's close enough, and looking like a young Harrison Ford. Part of that he gets from the hairpiece, which, you know, is shared with the adult, the normal form of Solo, the Harrison Ford Solo versions in the most recent renditions. So I think that helps, but yeah, I think this ends up being a better figure than the actor is for Solo, for a young Solo. So I like that. The print on the legs doesn't look that great to me. I have to see how that turns out in the movie. I think it probably should have looked a little bit more dusty. And then the print on the back of the torso doesn't look that great to me. It's just very, very blocky with the splotches of dirt and such. This is the alternate face. Let me just swap the hair around to see how that kind of frames up the face. That also looks really good. Now this to me looks a little bit more like the actor does, but there's still some Harrison Ford in this, like a younger version of Harrison Ford. So again, I think they did really, really well with the face. The body is okay. I like the front torso print, but the other prints, not so much, just for me. Right now I can just imagine him saying, "I've got a bad feeling about this." The Kira figure looks absolutely appropriate to me. Nice new hairpiece. It's a little bit realistic, but still fits that Lego aesthetic. I think the choice of faces is good. I like the torso print. Maybe it's a little bit simple, but it's not bad. And I think the leg print and also hip printing for this one looks a little bit better to me personally, just with this layout for the wear patterns and the dirt patterns. A little bit simple on the back of the torso. Notice that the color for the torso and arms is the metallic silver color, not a gray. And then her alternate face is a smile. And there's how that looks with the hair framing it up. Again, I think it just works. So no complaints about this one from me. Last but not least, here is the one Corellian Hound included in this set. What an awful looking thing that is. I say that with utmost respect and admiration. It's supposed to look evil. It's a really simple build here from Lego, being just one piece, no articulation, just a little bit of print on it, you know, just to get the nostrils, the eyes, and the teeth. They could have done more print on it to get more, you know, like feathering detail in the fur and such. They didn't do that, and I think it's fine. I like the mold. I like the ridges along the back. I think the proportions look pretty good. Of course, it would have been nice to get this in an articulated form, even just a little bit, but I think it's okay. For its size, this is more than acceptable, and I think a lot of people will like this, although it may be a little bit divisive, but I think it's about right for a Lego model of this creature. I think this is a pretty well done set. I have to think of it from the perspective of the designer's job, the designer's tasks and goals. I feel like the goals were met with this. I think that The proportions are good. The overall realism is very good for a Lego model, especially for something that, again, is so easy to put together. The price to part ratio is fine. The price to volume of stuff ratio, in terms of like just how much I see here in front of me, is okay relative to some other, roughly $30 US vehicle sets in recent times. I wouldn't mind if it was a little bit cheaper, given that it's just one vehicle, but you do have to pay for the extra detail of things like the opening hood and the detail inside of there, which is, in my opinion, better than it needs to be. But again, I'm not complaining, because it's really nice. The removable, whatever that's supposed to be, I'm going to call it a repulsor field generator, but call it an engine, call it whatever you like. Eventually we'll get a cutaway official explanation of it. I like this little thing back here. It's a nice, small, simple build. You get the action features of being able to shoot things, but if you don't like those, you just leave them out, and it does nothing to hurt the design of this. The fact that those spring-loaded shooters are integrated into it. So there's really nothing here that was done poorly, in my opinion. And again, that figure is good. That figure, I think, is better than the real-life huge figure, just in terms of how they look. So that's it for my thoughts on this one. Feel free to share what you think in a comment down below, and I'll talk to you again soon.